Hello, happy 1 year anniversary to the Young Entrepreneur Mindset. And Angel, thank you so much for having this platform for all of us to share our message, and also for allowing the listeners to receive all the goodness that the experts have to share, to receive so much knowledge, for people to grow in their own journey. Thank you for all that. Thank you. And many more anniversaries to come. Yay!
I want to give a huge shout out to Angel and the Young Entrepreneur Mindset podcast for reaching this 1 year milestone. Congrats to all your success and the growth of the podcast so far. I want to thank you once again for supporting me and my business, and also for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge with your audience. Really appreciate that, man. Listen, I know this podcast is going to continue to grow and flourish. So congrats again, bro. Take care.
What is up, Angel? Mr. Santos. I just want to say congratulations first off on 1 year with the Young Entrepreneurs Mindset podcast, man. I remember when you first brought me on, I had never been on a podcast with anybody before. First of all, I was just getting into my own business and learning how to do lives, but you asked me on. I decided to do it, and you made me feel real comfortable, man, and it went really well, and I got a lot of compliments about it, and that's actually one of the things that helped me to be more comfortable and open with doing my life. So I really appreciate you, man. I pray that God continues to bless your podcast and all the rest of your adventures and endeavors that you take part in.
Happy anniversary, Young Entrepreneurs Mindset. It's been a whole entire year. It was a delight to be a part of your very first podcast. I've grown so much professionally, and I've been able to share my story with so many other people because of the platform that you granted me. Most importantly, you've shown how effective leadership is, because leaders develop leaders. Good luck to everything that you have set up for your future. As always, I will stay your number one fan.
Hi, Angel. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary of your podcast. I want to also thank you so much for having me on board and giving me the opportunity to bring my message to your audience. And I wish you all the best and the best of success to you. And may God bless you and your family. Have a good one.
Hey, Angel. It is Dr. Angela Kennel here out of Georgia. I just want to take this moment to say thank you so much for you. Thank you for being you unapologetically, and congratulations on the anniversary of your podcast, Young Entrepreneurs Mindset. I just want you to know that I love the work that you're doing, and God is pleased, and I am just excited about how He's going to use you in the future in doing the work of the Lord. And I honestly am just so happy for you, and I'm blessed to know you, and I look forward to having you on my radio show soon. And I just want to wish you nothing but abundant blessings and sweatless victories. Take care.
Wow. Well, there you have it, guys. Welcome once again to the Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Angel. And listen, guys, thank you so much to everyone. Blessings to all. Thank you for your words, for your support. This is a journey that, to be honest, it just started with an idea one day. I always believe that, God puts something in your heart. You go through with it and you let Him do the rest. So thank you to all that took a few seconds. I just reach out to some of my guests. If you haven't been able to send a video or not, no worries. Just comment below. Send your love through the comment, through Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatnot, through the YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. That's still showing your love and your support as well. So I know there's many guests that I've had on here, but I was not able to gather everyone's video all at once. And I just wanted something brief to celebrate, to be a part of the celebration. So thank you guys. Thank you to all of you for your prayers, for your support. It's not about the quantity, it's all about the quality, right? So when I started this project, I didn't know where it was going to go, but seeing the people that spoke here and many others that have written me in the past and that were part of this, and I was able to give them just a platform to maybe showcase what they do and whatnot. And listen, that's a blessing, man. And it's a blessing to connect with those people. So thank you guys, man. I appreciate it. And today, as you know, it's not really today the anniversary day one today, but listen, it's around this time where I reached out to this person today, my guest here, Coach V Torres, Coach Valentine Torres. She's my cousin from Indiana. And listen, man, she's a wonderful person, an amazing person. When I reached out to her last year around this time, I told her I wanted on this platform, I wanted her to be the first one to start because I didn't know where this was going to go, what I was going to do, why even I was doing it. But as time can tell you, time is always your best friend, right? And it always shows you the fruits of what the outcome of a project, of a vision, of a mission could come out to be, right? So today she's here today. She actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, Angel, remember we had that anniversary a year ago?" And I was thinking, and I was also thinking about it. And that's why great minds think alike, and we came with the idea to come today to bring you so much information. She has so much to bring you, to talk to about building resilience and becoming confident. Look, listen, when you look up the dictionary resilience, I can see this woman there. I see her face there. I see her picture there because if someone has been through so much in their lives, is this person here today. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and welcome Miss Coach Valentine Torres. Hey, how are you, hon? How is everything?
Oh, I'm well. I'm well. Up here in Indiana, it's
Yes.
spring, right? But this morning in Indiana, Northwest Indiana, we woke up to snow. And
What?
yes, snow. I was
Oh my.
hoping for like a little bit more sunshine because later on Saturdays, like every other 44-year-old woman, we like to go to Costco. We like to go to Costco and we like to stock up on everything for the next 2 to 3 weeks of our lives. And today's my
Yeah,
Costco day trip. So I then just kind of flipped it and I said, that's all right. I got some other good things going on. I'm gonna have a conversation with Angel today. And I'm sure
that's
by
right.
the time I'm done with him, the snow's gonna melt and the sun will be out, and then I can make my trip to Costco.
There you go. Like you said, being positive today, being productive and being
Mhm.
positive today. That's what you were sharing to me earlier. Yeah, and here in Florida, believe it or not, we were like in the 90s and all of a sudden it's going down to like in the 40s today. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? We're like April 9th and we're still with this crazy weather. But I take that today's Florida's weather other than the snow, that's for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, Valentine, oh my God, what amazing it is to be here again 1 year later.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe not to the exact date, but I remember it was around April 15th, somewhere around that week.
Mhm.
And it's just amazing how you even express so many things that have changed from that point on, right? And
Yeah.
when I talked to you about the title building resilience, if we look at the word resilience, it's and the definition says the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, etc. Now, the important thing is to recover, but recover from what? We could probably talk about that later. And it says recover quickly. Well, for some people, it could be quickly. Some people could be longer, right? Or they probably still
Mhm.
trying to recover as we speak from difficulties and toughness. So building that resilience and becoming confident. You know, when I see Valentine Torres, for example, for you, using your example because you're here,
Yes.
you're a mom, you're a sister, you're a
Mhm.
daughter, you're a wife, you're a
Mhm.
friend, you're a cousin, you're a teacher, you're a mentor, you're an entrepreneur, you're so many things, right? But and that's now, right? Now we're seeing the glory, we're seeing the fruits today.
Yeah.
And I love where if you could share just a little bit of, you know, for maybe people who didn't connect back then with us, take us through building that resilience with those difficult times that you went through. Go ahead and share your story, however you want to share it. And I want you to connect with my audience. Go ahead.
I'm a 44-year-old woman, and the older I get, the more I talk about my age. And the older I get, the more pride I have in age. Like if you would have asked 24-year-old Valentine, how are you going to feel when you're 44? 24-year-old Valentine would have been like, I'm not turning 44. I'm going to be 24. I think I'm going to flip to 25 and I want to stop there, because life was great, at that age. I was working, I had a beautiful car. I ventured out to Tampa, Florida to live for a while because I had a job that took me there, and life was going really, really good, and then I transitioned. I came back to Indiana because that wonderful job that I obtained in Tampa, Florida asked me, do you want to go back to Northwest Indiana? And when people say, do you want to go back home? Home is always where the heart is, right? And
Right.
Indiana's where my heart is. It's our little region. I'm very proud to be from the 219. I've shared before. I was born in Gary, Indiana, to two incredible Puerto Rican parents. I call them Gary Ricans because they have their own little way of life.
Yeah.
So um, going from living this glamorous life, I come back to Indiana and then decide to enter the world at some point into motherhood, and where I was blessed with two beautiful children.
Amen.
They are just my world.
Yeah.
And I would have never thought that I would love motherhood, right? Like
Yeah.
motherhood was always something that was so intimidating because my mother was intimidating, my grandmothers, my tias, everyone was so intimidating. I'm sure my children would tell you that I'm intimidating, but like I enjoy this role of life right now. It's fun to lead them, to mold them, to correct them as,
Yeah.
as because you see that potential, like, oh my God, they're gonna be outstanding adults. Like, let me just make sure that I keep whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna keep doing it, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
reaping the rewards. But 24-year-old Valentine and 44-year-old Valentine, I didn't know 24-year-old Valentine didn't know her. I didn't know me, who I was going to be today.
Yeah.
I didn't think that all of these crazy obstacles that I had in life was going to bring me to a platform where I can maybe help other people that have had to face some hurdles. When I did track in middle school, I remember when the track coach told me, run the hurdles, and so I go to run the hurdles, hit the first hurdle, fell on my face, gone, right? And I got back up and I would try it again. And I said, hey, that hurdle is not for me. I'd like to try something else. I say ran the 400 and the 4x8. And I was like, this I like. This part of it I like. So I learned at a very young age that if you hurt, if you fall in it and you get hurt, admit it to yourself and then say, I'm not going to allow myself to get hurt anymore. So I'm going to go to this road and I'm going to drive down this path in life, and I think
Exactly.
hurdles, when we face those hurdles, we fall down, we have to recognize that we're in pain and we have to find a new healing point. We have to change our trajectory of life, right? So I've had to do that so many times, and I think my first one was, of course, transitioning into careers. That was a big transition. My
Yeah.
first career change. I was married, and I had to decide to remove myself from that marriage. And then, decide to enter motherhood now as a co-parent. I don't use the term single mother because I'm not doing it alone. I had this wonderful person that said, hey, it's okay. We can't do this marriage thing, but we can co-parent. We can raise these kids and give them a healthy, loving two homes, So that is what I do. I take a lot of pride in co-parenting and making sure that my children know, you don't have two single parents. You have two parents. They just live in two different households because they make different decisions in life. Sometimes it's different dinner decisions, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's me playing it lightly, right? Be politically
absolutely.
correct about divorce. Sometimes you just didn't agree on dinner every night.
Yeah.
Now I have full control of the dinners I make every single night.
Uh-oh.
And I love to be in the kitchen. I
Yes,
love cooking. I love being in the kitchen. I post what I cook, when I have an opportunity to. I love sharing. I'm that social media person that people hate. I love sharing all the yummy meals that I make.
I know. I seen those. Oh my God.
Yes.
The arroz con gandules, tostones. Oh my God.
Oh, yes. Tostones. Yes, I do. Made a homemade picadillo the other day. Ooh, it was
Woo.
good. So good. I love home cooking because I love healthy food and I like it to be home cooked. I like to buy organic stuff. I like to get my vegetables that are more farm fresh vegetables and
Of
bring it
course.
all together. I'm competing
Yeah.
in my head like as if I'm going to go compete with Bobby Flay on Food Network.
Yeah. Oh
But
my
with
God.
that being said, all these different hurdles, I had to face that hurdle to co-parent and then living a different world, then put me in a transition where I had to change my career again. So I had to leave corporate America and I made a transition to go into education. And man, it's been great. It's been great. I've been working in public education now for 8 years. And I transitioned from higher education, for-profit education, that corporate America side, to going into public education. And
Okay.
man, this world has just touched my heart, and
Yeah.
believe it or not, I'm one of those teachers that will say, I'm grateful that I was in this position during the pandemic. I'm
Yes.
grateful for the heart and the passion that I have for these kids, that I was at least able to be an adult that was consistent in their life. I told them all the time, you are no obstacle to me.
That's right.
This pandemic is difficult. You are no obstacle. I'm right here next to you. You got pain. I feel your pain. You want to grow. I'm going to help you grow. Just always making sure I'm meeting them in the middle. So
Okay.
look, I almost got emotional about that, right?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you're passionate about what you do. So when the students approach you, like how take us through that process. Like what I know you're working with the Hobart community, is that correct?
For high school, yes.
Okay, okay. And then you're helping the students from the high school to transition into college or university.
Either college or careers as well. So
Okay.
that's how I started in public education, and I still use that platform as a career liaison. And then I transitioned into the business department, and I also teach business classes to students.
Okay.
So, and business is all about that transition because everything is a business. And I tell my
Yeah.
students their lives are a business plan, right? So if they want to transition from high school into a career, then we're going to do that, right? And if we want to
Right.
transition from high school to college, we're going to do that. Many of my students are transitioning out of high school into college and work at the same time. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
a relatable area for me because I worked full time and I went to college full time. So
Yeah.
I was not privileged enough to be able to go directly into college without maintaining a full-time job and financially supporting myself.
Of course.
And it's not that my parents couldn't, like I always tell people, it's not that they couldn't. That was just the
Yeah.
work ethic that was instilled in me. Those were the expectations from the world that I came from.
Yeah.
My parents helped me. I lived with my parents, but the thought was you're going to go out and you're going to work. You're going to gain that experience of life and you're going to go out. And if you want to study in college, then you study in college. So I did it both at the same time. And so many people in today's society are that way. It's a very smaller percentage that's going from high school directly to college without
Yeah.
needing immediate working skills, those transferable
Absolutely.
skills as they talk about. So I'm happy to I tell students, I'll take you wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go in life, but it's about creating a plan. So I
Right.
just
Okay.
focus on making sure that they have that plan for
A
themselves.
roadmap, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also, I mean, going back, when we were at that age, I mean, if I put myself, to Angel when he was 18, it's a lot about building confidence, because we're also talking about becoming very confident at that age, at a late teenage years. It's hard to build that confidence. A lot of people, I mean, some are born with it, obviously some are born with it, but for those students that you work with, or maybe those uh, uh boys or girls, whichever, and that you're working, how do you work with them? Do you see they need to build that confidence first before you do that roadmap as to where they want to go and whatnot?
Yes. Very specifically, I focus on time management, organization. What I do with all my business students, and I actually did this when I was working in higher education, when I was a manager with my employees. And what we did
Okay.
was a SWOT analysis, right? And I
Okay.
call it the four square of life: your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So when I was in for-profit education, we did a SWOT analysis. So all of my employees had to come to the table with a beautiful PowerPoint presentation explaining all of their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And they did it in bullet form fashion. And I can tell you that I saw growth with my employees, because I would tell them, why is this a threat? Let's talk about these threats. Can we flip them into some opportunities? How do we flip our weaknesses into our strengths? And we would focus on that weakness. And it was a lot about confidence, insecurities, getting them to talk about it. Even with my employees, sometimes I remember I used to have, like, they were from Dollar Tree and they were journals, and I would give them to my employees, and I go, why don't you, those weaknesses, why don't you journal about it? You don't got to share it with me. That's none of my business, but
Right.
journal about it. Admit to what your own wrongdoings are. If you come to work late every day, is it because you're not really setting your alarm clock, or is it because you're not going to bed at a decent time? And when I was dealing with adults, I'd be like, were you out partying all night?
Yeah.
That's going to hinder you from doing a good job, right? So
Of
now
course.
I take that same concept with my high school students, right? So the first thing that we do at the start of every year, any business student that's had me, we do a SWOT analysis. And I give them, like, a list of transferable skills, employability skills, and then a list of vocabulary words that are all confident boosters. Because I want them to look at those vocabulary words and identify with them. And if
Of
they
course.
can't identify with them, I want them to be able to define why that is. And with high school students, it could be, I was given time in class to do work, but instead I grabbed my phone and I decided to scroll through whatever social media app that I have. Three of them have at least like 7 to 10 apps. I don't think people understand
Yeah.
how many. A lot of parents, like, they think they're playing on like one app. I'm like, they're playing on 7 to 10, and that doesn't even include the amount of games that they have. Right? Some of them
Yeah.
are playing social media. They're actually just playing games, competitive. Um, but with that being said, I work with kids and I make them understand, like, is it in your best interest to spend 7 hours a day on social media? And then I try to help them with understanding on social media, who are you following? What content are you feeding your
Yes.
head? And I always try to give them positive people to follow. Say, go on your Instagram, follow this person. We talk about cell phones and social media and all of that a lot. I'm not one of those teachers that I'm grabbing it out of their hands or garnishing it. My thoughts are, parents are sending their children to school with these devices, and it's up to parents to help manage. And if
Yes.
they don't see that it's an issue, it's a very hard conversation to have,
Yeah, it is.
when that other side doesn't see it. But many of parents do see it. I'm not saying mine specifically, but
No, of course.
just in
Yeah.
general, but I think they all see that, and kids see it too, and kids understand what it is they have to work on. So that
Yeah.
SWOT analysis, when I'm working with high school students, it starts right there. And then that's when they're able to start focusing on the importance of time management. A lot
Uh-huh.
of their weaknesses is coming from time management. And then organization skills. And in organization skill, I tell them sometimes it's a bedtime routine. You
Yeah.
know,
The
I
very
always say,
simple thing.
set an alarm for yourself at 9:30 p.m. And at 9:30, say, you know what? I'm done conversating, socializing. I'm going to go take a shower now. I'm going to meditate a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
going to maybe grab a book and read and put myself to bed with some material that's going to make me a better person in the morning. And I'm going to make sure that when I set my alarm, I wake up the very first time that alarm sets, and I tell them, if you can organize that part of your life, man, you'll be a powerhouse.
That's
And
right.
as adults, those are things we work on, that's something that I focus on every night. That's big for me to manage my time and to feel effective with what I'm doing. I organize a task as simple as my bedtime routine.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. I mean, that you yourself had to do a cleanse from social media. Now, what made you do that? Go ahead and share that, because I mean it's important, because social media consumes any age. Let me tell you, it's from youth, mid-age to older. I mean, it consumes a lot.
Right. Absolutely. I love how you slid right. I walked right into that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I walked right into that, right?
Yeah.
I'm in full denial right now that I'm on a social media cleanse, right? Like,
Yeah.
thankfully, I have good cousins that send me the bochinche, like little
I
screenshots.
know.
Look at what happened. J-Lo got engaged this morning. I was like, oh, mira pa
Whoa.
allá,
I know. Somebody got slapped in the Oscars. Like, oh, really?
Oh, right. I was on TV. I did watch that happen.
Oh
But
my God.
yeah, I decided, in schools, we're broken up into quarters. There's 4 quarters and 180-day window. And those quarters go by fast, and they're 9 weeks
Yeah.
long, right? So me being a businesswoman, the calendar year goes by quarters as well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a quarter off of social media, right? So
Nice.
I can't let it consume 100% of me, right?
Yeah.
So I have to take, I'm usually pretty good about, like, okay, after 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, I won't go on social media during the school week, right? Like during the work week.
Yeah.
Like maybe on a late Friday night, Saturday night, it's no big deal. I'll scroll late at night. But I was walking into my 4th quarter of work. So I said, I really have a lot of projects that I'm working on that I'm passionate about. And I want to be able to put my all into it. And I don't want anything going out in the world right now to steer me in the wrong direction.
Distractions.
Right.
Yep.
So, because sometimes you can read something online and then all of a sudden you're Googling this, you're reading this, you're reading the comments, and you start that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 5:30. You're like, oh my God, did I just sit here for 2.5 hours? What did I learn about myself? And did I grow? Right.
Exactly.
So right now I'm just growing. I'm growing. It's spring. I'm growing like a flower.
That's right.
So I'm just allowing all of my energy to come naturally, to come from the sun, from the air that I breathe, from, I've been cleansing health food wise as well. Just seeing a lot of intermittent fasting and meditating. So it's been very nice right now. I just feel very like it's spring blossoms. That's what I'm doing. I'm blossoming with the spring.
That's awesome. So let's talk about that. What has changed for Valentine in a year, at least from the podcast? I know you had so many change, so many achievements. I've seen you with, what is it here? The mom thing. You were in so many. I think you were in the TEDx and whatnot. You were in a magazine.
Not the TEDx.
No, okay.
But I did host a TEDx talk as the communication.
Okay, that's what it was. I saw a photo of it. Okay, so go ahead and talk about your achievements that Valentine has reached so far.
So in this last year, since we've met, I did a talk which called "Listen to Your Mother," and I talked about on a stage, and this was happening during a Mother's Day weekend. I talked about how culturally where I'm from, everyone's a mother. Your mother, your tias, your grandmothers, your prima hermanas, your older sisters, they're all mothers, right? Yeah. So I came from a world where women were an important role in the household, right? Okay. And we were very much equal to our male counterparts, but our voice was used in a different way, and it was always with the children. and it was with the younger people of the family. And I'm so glad that I came from that type of environment where the mothers just took care of everyone in the family,
That's right.
while so maybe it's old school, some people can say, where the men had their jobs and they maintained the manly things and the women just maintained motherhood. But I just feel like we took motherhood to a whole new level, the women in
Level.
the
That's
family. We took
awesome.
it to a new level where we learned about eating healthy, cooking in the kitchen, gardening, planting, being advocates for ourselves, having a
Ooh,
voice, having a career, having an education. Um, all the confidence that I've received in my life, many of it has come from all of the women in my life. So I talked about that on a stage and it was great.
okay.
Um, I've been a big part of a program that is getting ready to be released. It's called 40 Women on 40 over 40. And so
Okay.
I just am doing a piece on that about helping women be their truest self. And I think at this point in my age, because I am a mother, I'm a career woman, I've been married once, divorced
Yeah.
once, remarried, you
Right.
know, that's many women my age, and I
Yeah.
think that all of those different things about me, it makes me who I am today. And I'm happy to be a part of this program because after the age of 40, we don't quit. We just keep going. It's
Yeah.
like for me, I just feel like I'm just now starting, right? I'm in
Mm.
this transition where I'm raising my children, but they'll be adults soon. And I want
Yeah.
to transition into what I'm doing while I watch my children transition into
That's
adulthood.
right.
So I want to continue to grow and grow.
Yes.
Um, the other big thing that I liked that I was in, there's a magazine here in Northwest Indiana called Mom to Mom, NWI,
Oh
and
yeah.
they featured me in the month of August to kick off the school year. And the feature was about working
Mm.
moms and education.
Okay.
So that was great. I really, really enjoyed that. I
Wow.
sitting on some boards. I sit on a board for the Hobart Education Foundation. I sit on a board for the Hobart Teachers Credit Union. I like that. I recently was asked to be part of the legislative committee for the Indiana Latino Institute. I'll be representing District 1, which is Northwest Indiana.
Okay.
And I'm reading off my notes here because I love their mission statement for the
Yeah.
ILI. And their mission statement is to devise a plan to better serve Latinos when it comes to public policy. The mission is to improve health and advance education for the Indiana Latinos community through statewide advocacy, research, and culturally responsive programs. And I pulled that from the internet because,
Yeah.
everything's online. And I love what they stand for. So I've been asked to sit on that committee for the 23 years. So I'm excited to be a part of that organization and to meet some other outstanding Latino leaders here in the state of Indiana that
Yeah.
are doing nothing more but to continue to build Latinos, provide them with the education resources they need, with the health,
That's awesome.
with everything. So it's a really awesome non-for-profit organization, and
Yeah.
they're doing some great things. I recently was interviewed by our yearbook committee at the high school I work
Ah,
at. So they said they
nice.
were going to do a feature on me in the yearbook, and it was so sweet because after the interview, I said something and it made it into a quote, and so he's putting it in the yearbook. And what I had said was, when he said, "What advice would you give high school students?" And I would tell them, go chase the money, chase the knowledge, because gaining knowledge is going to help you accomplish your dreams. I think right now, where we are with inflation and people talking about
Yeah.
money, people talk about money in such a greedy way,
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I tell people money exists. Anyone can have money.
Of course.
Anyone can have lots and lots of money. You got to get up, wake up, and work for it, right?
Right.
But you also can't create a life chasing the money and then
Mm.
ignore the knowledge that needs to be obtained to maintain the money, right?
Right.
Because I can go out and I can apply for that. I can think, oh, well, I'm not deserving until I have a $30 an hour job. but you're not going to get that $30 an hour job until you can prove that you have the knowledge for that job. And there's a
Uh-huh.
part of society that's forgetting that. You have to obtain the knowledge. You have to prove the work ethic. You have to prove that you have the
Yeah.
ability to get up and do the
And
job.
you have to start from the bottom one. You have to start from the 12, the 15, the 18, work your way up. People now, just because, oh, I have, I think I deserve this. Well, prove it and start from the bottom.
Right. Right. You know, hey, I started bussing tables at a pizza joint in town. It was not a glamorous
There
job.
you go.
And then the dishwasher used to call off almost every time I worked, and I would then have to be the dishwasher.
I remember that
And
story.
then, and then if the chicken wasn't going, I'm battering raw chicken. It was a disgusting job, but it's we have to start somewhere. I,
Yeah.
you have to see an opportunity, and then you have to sell yourself on it. I found a sales job, and the job was only for part-time only. And I
Okay.
said, I'll take it. Even though I was looking for full-time work, I said, I'll take it. So I took that part-time job and I maintained a part-time waitressing job to supplement my own income, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at that job with that corporate job that I had, I proved myself. And I woke up, I showed up, and I went over and beyond every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time I went over and beyond. And then when a full-time position came up, I got my full-time position and I proved myself then. And when that management position came up, I obtained that management position, you
That's right.
know? And so people have to understand the ladder of life. It's not
Yeah.
just about, well, I'm going to go chase this $30 an hour job, but I'm not going to walk that ladder of life to get there,
Mm-hmm.
you
That's
know?
right.
So I try to send that message across too. Some people
That's
hear me.
awesome.
Some
Ye-
people hear me.
Yeah. So what I have here, because you wrote here your motto. Talk about that motto right here. Go ahead and say it. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but an
A
habit.
habit, right? We are what we repeatedly do. And that, if I repeatedly wake up every day and I decide to drink a cup of coffee, do yoga, go to work, that's who I am, right? If
Yes.
I decide while I'm at my job to go over and beyond every single time, then
That's right.
that's who I am, If I decide to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do as a mother, and that is establishing a foundation, establishing rules, establishing morals, then
Awesome.
that's who I am, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
But it's like Aristotle says, excellent then is not an act, but then it becomes a habit. So now I have the habit of going over and beyond for what needs to be done. I have the habit of instilling values as a mother. I have the habit of making sure that instead of spending 2.5 hours on social media, that I pick up a book and I'm reading and I'm gaining knowledge to grow and to blossom. You
That's
know,
right.
those are the types of habits I'm trying to develop and instill.
Develop, of course. That's
Mhm.
awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, I congratulate you, for all your achievements that you've done in 2021 and, so far in 2022. You have done so much, not only for yourself, but for the community. You have been, I believe, the voice for the voiceless, right? You have been that role model for the young Latina or even the young female, not just in the Latin community, but overall. And that's awesome because you have been that role model, and I congratulate you publicly. And I through this platform, I'm proud that you are of my family, my cousin, and you have achieved so much, and you're that role model. But for someone who's probably listening for the first time, I want to leave you with the last word of like an open mic. What would you say to that young female, whether it's the Latin community, Asian, Indian, white, Caucasian, anything that you could tell them today, say, and they're probably trying to find themselves, right? They're trying to build that resilience, becoming confident, whatnot. What would you express to someone right now?
Um, One thing I've always said is only you can define you. You have full control on how you are defined, right? And sometimes defining ourselves is creating blocks, right? Sometimes when we have someone in our life that is defining us in a negative way, we have to create a block, because that shouldn't be how you define yourself. If someone thinks of you in a negative way, you have to be able to say, I'm not that person, and create a block from that, right? And I think who we connect with as women is very important. As human beings, who we connect with is very important. And I am very, very protective of who I connect with, right? And
Yeah.
so if there was someone out there that is struggling to blossom, to come out of their shell, I would tell that first and foremost, disconnect from anyone who does not have your best interests.
Yeah.
Write down how you want to be defined. If you want to be defined as a loving human being, write it down and live only as a loving human being, and only allow people in your life that will love you equally the way you will love them back, right? And this
Yeah.
you can do in any entity.
Of course.
I would always start there. And then, second, because I'm a business person, I would then organize yourself. I love journaling. And
Okay.
in 2018, I started my MBA program when I turned 40. And I bought this journal by Mel Robbins called the 5 Second Journal.
Okay.
Love this journal. And it takes 2 to 3 minutes of your day to complete, right?
Of course.
And
Yeah.
and I prioritized what I wanted to do. I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. I wrote down what kind of mood I felt like when I woke up in the morning, whether I felt meh or whether I felt joyful, right? And I
Yeah.
wrote down goals that I had for just that day, right? And just wrote my to-do list down. So the second thing, after you've defined who you are, then organize it. Create a structure. Your life is a business, and you've got to take pride in your life and your day-to-day habits. You got to set an alarm and wake up every day. You have to set an alarm to go to bed at night. You have to eat healthy. You have to exercise
Yeah.
in any shape or form, whatever that looks like to
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes exercising to me is dancing salsa in my kitchen for 20 minutes while I'm making those beans,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, these are some
Just
calories
moving.
I'm gonna eat
And
right now. Let me salsa dance in the kitchen.
yeah.
know, um, and you've got to take pride in managing your time.
Yeah.
You gotta take pride in showing up on time.
Yeah.
You gotta take pride in knowing when to leave.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
You gotta take pride in all of those things,
You have to.
and you gotta take pride in yourself. Sometimes there's people that struggle just to wake up and take a shower. Their depression is taking them over, their anxiety. You
Yeah.
know, my gosh, if you heard me today for the first time, I'd be like, go take a shower, wash your hair, and put some lipstick on. And
Yep.
even if it's to go to the kitchen to eat yogurt, then
Yeah.
you feel like I've done
Yeah.
something,
It builds your
right?
self-esteem.
You got to build your self-esteem, and you've got to believe in yourself, and you have to know that only you can define you. And the day you take control of defining who you are,
That's it.
that's it. Like
That's it.
you now have your life. It's in your hands. You put it in your heart. You protect it, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is my life. Esto es mi vida, and I'm going to protect it, right?
That's right. That's right. Wow, that's awesome, Valentine. Thank you so much for sharing this. This has been great. Look at this. The time again has flown. Last time we did this, it was like an hour flew by. It's like, oh my God. And it was so much fun. It was an honor and a privilege to have you here again. Thank you so much for your support. I'm definitely, like you said in the video, my number one fan. So I appreciate that. I do want to leave a quote that I saw this week, and it applies to you and applies to anyone who's watching this. And it's from Jackie Robinson, and it says, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives." That's
Absolutely.
amazing. I just had to share that
Beautiful.
with you because I heard that this week. I was getting ready for the podcast, and now God was like, "Hey, remember that quote?" And then I was like, "Oh yes, let me get that quote. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives."
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I
It
like
is.
that. I mean, what a part of defining ourselves is deciding what kind of impact we're going to leave, right? What kind of
Yes.
legacy we're going to leave. I
Yep.
believe in the legacy because the people before me, my family members and great friends that I've met before me that have passed on have left legacies. I
Yes.
love it. And I
Yes.
love it, you know, and people should take pride in defining, I'm going to leave my legacy. This
Yep.
is how I want to be known, you know, and if you live your life knowing that, when you get to that milestone, because death is real,
Mm-hmm.
um, gosh, think about how peaceful you'll be in
Yes.
that moment.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, is about leaving that impact in other people's lives. That's why I think you and
Mhm.
all the other people that, sent those videos over, and I was able to showcase that, not because, I wanted to be like, people talking about me. Actually, it was Aura Martinez. I want to salute her because she's actually the one that told me, why don't you gather some videos from people, that have been guests on the past? And I was like, okay. I was like, but then, something inside me felt like I don't want to be, people think that, oh, this guy wants me to talk about him, and that ego thing. But that was, the other voice, talking, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it because it's something that has to be done, and it just shows the fruits of the people that you touch, and it shows that.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was an amazing. I really enjoyed watching it.
Thank
Happy
you.
1 year anniversary.
Yes, we made
About
it.
balloons. Pretend there's
Yeah.
balloons. There. The confetti's falling.
Confetti. I can see it already. Balloons, everything.
Woo!
Yes. But the more important thing is to leave an impact in people's lives. So, amen to that. Thank you, Valentine, for your time. Blessings to you and your family. And I'll be talking to you soon. I'm gonna call your dad, he's here in Orlando, and we'll probably go and have some dinner or something. So I'm gonna call him up now. So, Josie, what's up, Josie?
Good. Good. Take care of Bobby for me.
Okay, I will. You take care of yourself and have a safe weekend.
Thank you.
Bye now. Saludos. All right, folks. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for everyone's support. As you know, all the audio downloads going to be available shortly on the platforms that you see there on the screen: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. I'm going to send the links shortly. So, guys, you can also follow me on the Twitter account under Angel Santos 75 and on Instagram under Angel Santos Podcast. I also have Valentine's links. They're going to be on the description below, and you'll be able to follow her and even contact her if for any reason you have to. Okay, so guys, I do want to leave you with one of my favorite scriptures, and it's in Proverbs 9, 10, 11, and it says, to be wise you must first have reverence for the Lord. If you know the Holy One, you have understanding. Wisdom will add years to your life. So there you have it, folks. Listen, I'll see you on the next episode of the Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode. God bless, and see you soon. Oh, and by the way, yes, I am working on a new podcast, which we're working to launch next Sunday, which is the 17th, right? We're going to call it Resurrection Day. I'm going to have a friend of mine, a minister, and I'm going to have that shortly. So look out for the Positive Sunday podcast, which is going to be every Sunday with a positive message from real people, real stories. So tune in shortly to that. All right. Take care. God bless.